welcome to another core moves workout on the Bosu. So today you want to have your Bosu started at the end of your mat with the dome side up and the pointy ends pointing out to the sides of your mat. No shoes on for this workout today, no weights. We're just going to focus on a little bit more of a sort of traditional Pilates repertoire, but modified for the Bosu, and it's to work on the intrinsic muscles in the feet, really work on stabilizing the hips and the pelvis, and relaxing through the chest and the neck as we work on our core. So you can wear shoes if you feel you need that extra stability for your foot, but really if you are barefoot, then all those little muscles are going to have to work harder to stabilize you. So let's get started straight away with a quick little warm up, and then we'll move on to the Bosu. So we're going to start standing with our feet underneath our hips and hip distance apart. And we're just gently going to move into a little squat. So just let your knees come over your toes, let your hands come down to your knees, keep your sternum long and lifted. And then from there, you're just going to begin to forward fold, pulling the navel in and coming into that round, heavy ragdoll pose. Then you're going to push into the heels, straighten the legs, and lengthen the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Slide the hands down the thighs, bringing the sit bones low. Round through the spine, allow the hands to come heavy towards the floor, but not touching the floor. And then exhale, push into the floor, lengthen the spine, stack everything up in your neutral position. From here, we're going to add on a side bend. So you're going to come gently into that little squat again, lifting the chest, and then bring your hands out to the side. Sweep your right hand up and tilt over. So really controlling your hips in this sort of bent position. Exhale, come back into center, left hand. So don't let that hip kick over the side. Keep your body square and back into center and lengthen up. From here, hold your hands just in front of your sternum, lock your fingers together. Keep your hips really nice and still and tight, and twist like you're on a corkscrew. Twist, keeping your chin and your sternum in line with each other, and then back into center. Twist to the other side, just warming up the spine a little bit. And back into center. Keep the navel pulled in, the hips as still as possible. Bring yourself back in one more time to the right. And pull everything in to center. Good. From here, we're just going to open up the chest. So we're going to come back into that little squat, and then lift our hands up to chest height. Bend the elbows so that the palms face each other. And then push the elbows back. Really pull the chest forward. Then as you exhale, flex your spine, scoop the abdominals, and send your hands away. Inhale, lift the hands, pull the chest, reach them up overhead. Exhale, this time squat, fold, round the spine. Pull those elbows back, lift the chest, stretch it, reach it up, and then bring your hands down to your side. We're going to face the Bosu now, and we're just going to gently roll down to come into a down dog. So just take your spine. You can start with those knees bent again if you want, or just slowly rounding down, soft bend in the knees, and bring your hands either side of the Bosu dot. And then when you're ready, step one leg back, step the other leg back, and come into your plank. So take a minute to set yourself up, maybe widen your hands a little bit if you need to, and then send your hips up to the sky. Make sure your Bosu is on your mat so it's not going to slip away. And we're going to lift both heels up at the same time. And then exhale, push those heels slowly with control, stretching out the arch. Inhale, peel them away, articulating through the whole foot. Exhaling, pushing them back down. Inhale, peeling them away. Feeling that nice engagement of the calf muscles. Exhale, pushing them back down. One last time, lifting and lengthening the foot back down. From there, we're just going to soften the knees, and then you're going to push yourself forward into a plank. Now we're going to move from a plank to a down dog with a rounded spine. So you're going to start by scooping your abdominals and rounding through the back. Tip your head towards the Bosu, and then begin to lift your hips up towards the sky. And then as your heels go down, you lengthen the tail away to one long line. Pull the belly in, lift the heels, scoop the abdominals, squeeze the glutes, unravel the body to a long line, and then lengthen to your strong, stable plank. One more time for me. Pull the belly in, round, 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 round. push those heels down, lengthen to your down dog. Round, 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 round. Scoop the abs, squeeze the glutes, lengthen to your plank. From there, we're going to step our left foot forward and then rise the body up and bring our hands down to our sides. So we're going to put our left foot on top of the Bosu now. So get your foot on the Bosu and then step your right foot back, find your balance, square your hips, and then come off so that you're that 1 foot distance away. And we're just going to wake up those hips and thighs by stepping forward into the middle of the Bosu and coming into a lunge and then pushing ourselves back off. So keep your hips and your shoulders square to each other. Keep the navel engaged. Keep the glute engaged so you get that deep stretch down the front of that hip. Focus on your balance as your foot lands on the Bosu. Keep tracking that knee over the toe the whole time. The navel pulled in and the spine is long. Lift that pelvic floor. Let's do one more. Push away. And then we're going to step back into that lunge. But this time we're going to twist the hips open to the side of our mat so that our foot comes perpendicular with the outside edge. Our toe now is still facing forward in that front lunge and our knee is going over our toe. And then we're going to reach our hands out into this modified warrior two. As you exhale, just try and sink a little bit deeper, stretching out that hip. Inhale, lengthen up nice and tall, straighten that leg fully. Exhale, reach. Inhale, stack the spine, pull that quad in. Exhale, reach. Inhale to lift. Exhale and lift. Keep the belly pulled in. Push away from the back of the hamstring. Really engage that front leg. Your back leg is locked in place to help keep that stability and maintain that stretch, but your front leg is working really hard to push you away from the Bosu. Foot is relaxed, come back up to tall, and then we're going to bend that knee and keep it in this isometric bent position and open the arms out to the side. From here, we're going to get that flexion extension in the spine again. So just round through the spine, look towards the floor. Inhale, lift the sternum, push the hands back. Try not to let the rib cage pop forward too much. Exhale, round. Inhale, open, push the chest forward. One more time. Round. And lift. And then straighten the leg. We're going to come into a modified triangle now. So you're going to bend that front knee, reach the hands out wide, and then tip the body forward as you straighten that knee, but come into a bit of a side bend. Lengthen the body back up, warrior two. Tip to your side bend triangle. Open back up, warrior two. Tip back to the side. One more time for me. Warrior two. Tip and stretch. And then come back up. Now we're going to turn that toe, left toe, so it faces forward, and the heel faces backwards. So our feet are now squared towards the front of the room. You're going to lunge your right knee down into this lateral lunge, and then really anchor through that left foot to swap the weight and pull yourself up. Now ideally, you want to pull yourself up and lift that leg to the side, come back down to your lunge. Pull and lift. Back to your lunge. So you get this little micro bend in the knee to help pull you up, and we're really working through those stabilizers on the right side. Land softly in that right foot. Keep the navel pulled in and the chest lifted. One more time for me. Pull it in, lift, bring it down, and stand up tall. From here, bring your foot in, spin your body around, roll yourself down one vertebrae at a time. Walk your hands back out onto the Bosu, and then step your feet back, push yourself back into your down dog. Let's walk the dog, so bring the right knee in, then the left knee, the right, and then the left, and then we're going to round through that down dog to come into our plank again. So from that down dog, scoop the abs, really look towards your belly button, round through the spine, lengthen, and come to that long plank line. Pull the belly in, scoop the abs, push the hips up high, and then lengthen to that down dog. Pull the belly in, really engaging those abdominals, squeeze the glutes, find the quads, lengthen to your long line. Pull it in, back to your down dog, and then walk your feet in. We're going to step the right foot in the middle of the Bosu now. The left foot comes back to gauge your lunge, and then step back. Going back into that lunge just on the right side, so square your left glute. Keep your hips and shoulders in line with each other. Step forward with the right foot, drop the left knee, push yourself back. Make sure that you really find that connection with the core so that you're only going forwards and backwards. Your knee is tracking over the toe the whole time. This glute is really contracting to keep those hips thrust forward and the knees in a nice straight line. Keeping the hips and the shoulders square. Your hands at your waist, or you can pedal them like you would normally in a plyometric lunge. That's up to you. Last one. And then come forward, twist the hips so we come back into that modified warrior. And then from here, adjust your stance, make sure your front foot is pointing forward, your back foot is parallel with the back of the mat, and then sink into that warrior two. Push into the back of the leg, lengthen up. And sink. Bring the hands towards the center as you lengthen up, contract that quad. Reach, really stretch out the hip here, pulling it in, pelvic floor is lifted, shoulders are relaxed, and push into the foot to come up. Reach it out, push into the arch of the foot, the arch in the heel, not the toe. And again, reach. And last one, reach it out. We're going to hold it here now, and we're going to get that flexion and extension. So round through the spine, squeeze that left glute, keep pushing the right knee out to the side, flex and look to the floor. Inhale, stack the spine, open the arms, push the chest forward, but don't lift the rib cage. So you're stretching the front of the pec muscles and the front of the shoulders. One more time, exhale, fold. Curl, stretch out the back of the arms. Inhaling, lengthen, and push that chest forward. From here, hands come back to that warrior two. And then we're going to tip ourselves forward to our triangle and then to that side bend. Lengthen the body back up to standing warrior two. Tip it over and stretch side bend. Lift it up and lunge. Tip. We're going to go back into those lateral lunges after this. So your right foot is going to be your anchor this time. And you're going to go into a left lunge with a side kick. Last one here. Side bend. Lengthen up. Turn that heel so it's now parallel with the top end of the Bosu. And we're going to come into that lunge. Soft bend. Lift yourself and lift the leg. Lunge. Soft bend. Transfer the weight. Lift the leg. Make sure that leg lands softly and your sternum stays lifted, your spine is long as you transfer and lift. Side lunge, power through that front thigh to get you up on top of that Bosu. And keep breathing. Lift, last one for me. Lift and bring it down and take your foot off. We're going to flip the Bosu over now. We're going to challenge our stability standing on the flat side of the Bosu. So to come onto it, you're going to step your right foot into the center. Find your balance, lean over the knee, and then step the left foot in. Once you've got both feet in, open them up to the outside of the first ring. So you want them to be hip distance. And then find your balance, work through the muscles in the thighs and the glutes, working on that little intrinsic balance. And then we're going to tip the toes forward and tip the heels back. Push the toes forward, tip the heels back. So just warming up the ankles, finding that stability. Push, pull. Now we're going to go side to side. So push into the right foot, bend the left. Find that glute connection, push into the left, bend the right. Push into the right. Push into the left, and now come to center. Now you should feel fairly stable on that Bosu now because we've kind of woken up all those intrinsic muscles. So we're going to move into our deep squats. So slowly sink those knees over the toes, lifting the sternum, sitting the hips back, reaching the arms forward, and then push yourself back up with control. Sitting yourself back, navel pulled in, pelvic floor lifted, arms come to shoulder height, and push yourself up. Remember, if you're lordotic, if you tend to arch that lower back, that you want to just scoop it in a little bit, Get that slight posterior tilt. And knees go just skimming the outsides of the toes. The belly is in. Push into the arch and the heels of the feet. Knees going forward. Lifting the pelvic floor. Shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. That's it. Really warming up those thighs. Come up, and now we're going to come down. We're going to pulse. So hold it here. We're going a little bit lower. Halfway up. A little bit lower. Halfway up. Keeping the feet still, keeping the sternum lifted, warming up those thighs, really focusing on that balance in the foot, and then push yourself up. Good job. We're going to close our eyes now in our squat. So come on back down, find that center and balance, and then close your eyes and see if you can maintain that connection with your core, with your stabilizers, finding that quiet space within you to control your balance, and then lengthen all the way up. Good job. We're going to do toe taps now. So you're going to walk your left foot into the center of the Bosu, just to the side of the dot, and then roll up on the ball of the right foot. Now really connect that stability as you need to adjust your feet. And whoop, roll up through the right foot, find that stability and that connection, push the right hip down, lift the toe up. Now you can have your hands out in front or to the side to help with that balance. You're going to tap the toe down, pull it up, tap it down, pull, tap, pull, one more, tap and pull. Now tap and straighten it out to the side. Find your balance, not like me. We're going to lift it out to the side like we did in that lateral lunge. So adjust your balance again if you've lost it, like I did. And then lift, lower, lower, two more. Lower, and then pull that foot in and come on down. So just rock the Bosu to one side. Come down and stretch out the feet, especially that left foot. Just rock the arch of the foot forward, and then we're going to do the other foot. So step the right foot into the center of the Bosu. Just lean forward, find that stability over the thigh, lengthen the body up, bring the left foot to meet it, roll onto the ball of the left foot. Now just really square your hips, your pelvic floor, your shoulders, pull the navel in, and then float that knee up. Find your balance, reach your hands to the sides, to the front, overhead, whatever works for you. And then you're going to tap and lift from the belly. Don't let your hips shift. So you really have to find that stillness in your core. You'll find you're probably better on one leg than the other. Lift, then tap it down, reach it away once you've completed 4. And you're going to sweep it out to the side. Regroup your balance. Maybe even adjust the hands. So I like mine to be one hand overhead, one down by my side. Lift the leg out to the side. Pull it in. Don't let the hip hike with that leg lift. Lift and pull. Again, just complete 4 on that leg. Then bend the knee. Place the foot down on the edge of the Bosu. Tip it to the side and then step it off. Now from here, we're going to step the left foot back on into the center, lean forward, keep that back leg in extension, hinge the body forward and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, place that foot down, bring the foot off, other foot. Reach the front foot forward, the right foot forward, square the hips, lean over that knee first, come onto the ball of foot, find the extension in the glute, and then push through that front leg as you lift the back leg. Find your balance, hug your belly in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, keeping the extension in the hip, bend the knee, bring the foot back down, and bring your feet forward. And then just stretch out the toes again. Good job. Okay, we're gonna come back down onto the mat with the Bosu with the flat side up, and we're gonna do a crouch to plank. So bring it right to the front of your mat, and your hands are gonna come just inside of the labels, and your fingertips spread really nice and wide. Have your toes directly under your hips, your hands directly under your shoulders, lengthen your spine to a long neutral spine, and then push into the toes and lift your knees so that they hover. Hold it here and breathe. And then we're going to step back the right foot, step back the left foot into our plank. Now you're going to pull the knees in and try and rock the Bosu towards you. You really feel an engagement of the abdominals, and then push back to the plank. Pull the knees in, really pull those abs down towards your hips, and then push it forward to your plank. Find your bum. One more time. Pull it in, core, 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 and back to your plank. And then push your hips up or back to your down dog. Just stretch it out. And then roll the spine back forward into your plank. Drop your right knee, drop your left knee. We're going to flip that Bosu over and open our legs to either side of it. So the dome is up, and sorry, the dome is down still. Never mind, ignore me. So that you're kind of resting your elbows on the arc and your feet are coming out to the side, knees are as straight as possible. Have your elbows just land right at the front edge and your fingertips face forward. And then as you exhale, nod your chin, flex your spine, push the arc forward and pull your belly back. Inhale, stack the spine, push those elbows back down. Exhale, nod the chin, flex, push the arc forward. And then stack the spine, pull the elbows back. One more time. Just warming up that lower back here, lengthen. And then tuck your feet in, move that Bosu forward onto the mat a little bit. And we're going to bring our feet on top of it. So you're going to get your feet in the middle of the Bosu so that they feel really nice and stable. They're hip distance apart. Your hands are just back behind you, and then come onto your elbows. Lengthen the spine, push those shoulders back, and find that connection in your abdominals. From here, we're just going to do some little pelvic tilts. So you're just going to curl the lower back under, squeeze the glutes, and look towards your belly button. Inhale, lengthen the pelvis away, reach the sternum long. You can look up at the ceiling when you come into that long line, and then exhale, tuck the tail, scoop the abs, use the abdominals, not the glutes, look at the belly. Inhale, lengthen back to that nice long line. Exhale, tuck it in, scoop, 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 using the obliques, and back to the long line. One more time, rolling it back. And lengthening back up. Take your feet off the Bosu and just slide them down long on either side. Now from here, we're going to just push into the hands, lift ourselves up to seated, and we're going to control those abdominals as we roll all the way down to the mat. So do that same scoop, keep the hands wide, roll the whole body down, get that lower back onto the mat, and then unravel that thoracic spine. Bring your hands down to your sides, bend your knees, and make sure you're adjusted on the mat, and bring your feet back into the middle of the Bosu. So from here, we want to be in our nice neutral spine on the mat. Our feet are hip distance, and you can have your hands down by your sides, or you can reach them so your palms face each other. We're just going to roll up to our glute bridge. So squeeze your glutes, push that lower back into the mat, roll the spine away from the floor. And you're just going to point your toes forward and then pull your heels back, getting that hamstring connection. Point the toes forward, waking up the calf muscles, pull the heels back, waking up the hamstrings. Point, keeping the sternum soft and the ribs level, controlling it with your multifidus, your obliques, and your pelvic floor. One more time, point, flex, come into neutral and roll the spine down, one vertebrae at a time, and release. Cross your right foot over your left, and then just pull that knee in towards your chest, stretching out the right glute. And then bring the feet back onto the back. Now this time we're going to open them out to a diamond. So connect your toes, Connect your heels and let your knees fall out to shoulder distance. Relax the shoulders and then roll the spine away from the floor. And you should really feel this in the hamstrings, in the glutes. Relax and lengthen the body from the shoulder all the way to the hip bones. And then control those knees from splaying out too far to the side. You're using your inner thighs to hold the knees up towards the ceiling. Your glutes and your hamstrings are working to keep you lifted. Your navel is pulled in, your sternum is soft, shoulders are relaxed. Breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll the spine all the way down. Close the knees in and hug them into your chest. Good job. Okay, we're going to bring those feet back onto the Bosu. This time, connect your knees, connect your feet right in the middle. Open the hands out to the side. Roll the body up to that glute bridge. Lift the hands up to face each other. Now we're going to open the knees out to the clam. Open the hands out to the clam. Squeeze it all back into the center. Open and stretch the arms, stretch the glutes, squeeze it back in. Sorry, not the glutes, the inner thighs. So we're waking up the glutes to open those knees out, squeezing it all back in, pelvic floor, core, chest, pulling everything in towards the midline of the body. Keep trying to control the stability of that Bosu. Hamstrings engaged, shins, calf muscles, navel pulled in, multifidus are working really hard to keep your spine still. Close it in. Last one for me. Open and close. Hands down. Roll your spine back down one vertebrae at a time. And then cross your right foot over your left. Let the knee drop out and pull your right knee in towards your chest, just stretching out your abdominals a little bit. And release. We're going to do single leg now, so you're going to bring your right foot into the middle of the Bosu so that the arch of your foot cradles the arch of the Bosu, and then push into that foot. Relax the sternum, relax the chest, roll through to come up to your single leg glute bridge. Extend the foot up towards the ceiling, flex the ankle, drag that heel down, point and sweep. Flex and drag, point and sweep. Try and keep that sternum still the whole time. Keep lifting with the glutes, with the hamstrings, with the intrinsic muscles of the feet. Keep both hip bones the same height throughout. Reach, flex, keep lengthening that toe away from your hip. Point and reach. Last one for me. Flex and lower. Point and reach, and then bend the foot. Place it down next to the other one and roll your spine all the way down. Take the right foot off the Bosu. Bring the left foot right over that center dot. Just take a minute to connect the back of the thigh, the back of the leg. Then bring your right leg into tabletop next to the left one. When you're ready, soften the sternum. Squeeze the abdominals together. Find the connection with the pelvic floor and the glutes and roll yourself up. Point your toe towards the ceiling, and then you're going to flex the ankle, drag the heel down, point and lift. You might need to open your hands out slightly wider to the side. Adjust your foot if you need to. Flex that foot. Really feel like you're reaching the toe away from the hip the whole time. So don't collapse into that waistline. Let the movement be long and stable and controlled. Flexing it down, lifting it up. And lift, drag, finding the bum, point, using the quad and the core, drag, point and lift. Last one, drag it down, point and lift, bend the knee, and articulate through that foot. And roll the spine back down one vertebrae at a time and release into neutral and just pull both knees into the chest. Now from here, wrap your right leg over your left so your legs are crossed and just drop the knees over to the left side, getting a little bit deeper stretch in the glutes. And pull the rib cage down, pick those knees up. Wrap the left over the right and drop them to the right side. Pull the belly in, lift those knees up, and then hug the knees back into the center, and we're just going to roll ourselves all the way up. So grab onto the back of your knees, flex up, open your feet to either side of the dome, and flip that Bosu over. So we're going to do back work on the Bosu now. I'm just going to move my backwards so I stay within the camera. And you want your back, your sit bones to be sat right up against the back of the Bosu. We're just going to float our hands up to chest height, and you're just going to roll your spine back sequentially, reach your arms up overhead, and then allow the hands to open up wide, palms facing towards the ceiling, and then nod your chin and your palms start to face in towards the hips as you roll the body up and stack the spine. Roll it back, lift the arms up overhead, reach them out wide. Allow that rib cage to flare a little bit as you move through these arm circles and lengthen up. Don't allow the knees to splay out to the side. And although the rib cage opens, we don't want to completely arch that back. We want to keep that abdominal connection. Let's change direction. Roll the spine back. Open the arms out to the side, up overhead, nod the chin, close that rib cage in, coming into your forward fold, and stack the spine, 2 more this direction. Peel the back onto the Bosu, open the hands, drop the head, nod the chin, palms face each other, flex the spine forward, and then lengthen up. Last one, roll it back. Keep that rib cage as closed as possible. Nod that chin, fully close the rib cage. Flex the thoracic spine. Lengthen up. Bring your hands to the outside of your ears. And then you're going to just plant that lower back onto the Bosu, staying in this flexed thoracic spine. And then lift your sternum, look at the ceiling. Close the rib cage, look at your belly button. Inhale, lift. Exhale, close. Your pelvic floor is lifted here. We're trying to challenge our pelvis in neutral. So we're not tucking under because we have that Bosu pushing into our lower back. It means that we're actually in neutral. So you might get this proper shudder, or earthquake abs as I like to call them. Make sure you're not jamming your chin into your chest. Make sure you're not letting your knees just drop out to the side. Keep that abdominal connection. Keep breathing with the movement. Don't come back all the way so that your head touches. One more time. Flex it up. And then stack the spine. Lengthen the legs away just a little bit more. Reach your arms up overhead. Pull the rib cage down and keep this nice, strong abdominal connection. You're going to hinge the body into a long line. Feel that shake in the abdominals. And then roll. Turn the body, tap the hand back. Sweep it up, lift yourself back up to center. So you get this oblique rotation and sweep, but we start with the hinge. So hinge, hold, push those big toes down, challenge those abdominals, and then roll the spine, twist to the left, tap the left hand, lengthen back up. Hinge, hold, push those big toes down, lift that pelvic floor, roll, twist, and sweep it up. Other side. Hinge. Hold. You can hear my shake in my voice. Roll, twist, and pick it up. I think we can do one more each side. Lengthen. Hold. Roll, twist, sweep it up. Last one. Hinge. Roll it back, twist, and lengthen up. And then bring your hands down to the floor, straighten your legs, and just roll your spine forward, coming into a forward fold. If you want to, you can grab onto your feet or your ankles and pull your belly away from the front of the thighs, just to stretch that lower back out a little bit more. Or you can just stay and stretch out the hamstrings in that deep forward fold. And then stack the body up. When you're ready, we're going to bring our thighs together. Flex the toes towards our nose and bring our hands back to the sides of our head. Now we're going to do a traditional roll back, but with the Bosu there so that we don't struggle to come back up. So you're going to plant the lower back into the Bosu, one vertebrae at a time, then lengthen all the way out to that long line. Look at the ceiling, nod the chin, roll the ribs to the hips, flex forward until you come so your face is over your knees, and then stack the spine up. Roll it back. Keeping that rib cage down, look at the ceiling, nod the chin, ribs to the hips, flex it forward. Once your pelvis is vertical to the floor again, lengthen and stack the spine back to your neutral seated position. Roll it back. Scoop those abdominals, lengthen, look at the ceiling, nod the chin, lift that pelvic floor, pull the belly in, flex it forward. Don't let the pelvis lean forward, keep it perpendicular to the floor, and then stack the spine using those spinal extensors. Roll it back. So much easier on the Bosu than on the floor. Nod the chin. Roll those ribs to the hips. Flex it over, pelvis is perpendicular. Stack the spine. Good job. Last one for me. Roll it back. Try not to jam your chin into your chest as you roll it back. Nod your chin, lift. Make sure your head isn't pulling on your head. Hands aren't pulling on your head. Flex forward. Lengthen up. And then just bring your hands to your shins. Nod your chin and gently fold the whole body forward. And just enjoy that nice deep stretch there. And then lengthen up. We're going to bring our bottom or our hips onto the dome now. So come seated on the front and then begin to walk your elbows back till they come onto the floor, and then drop your shoulders onto the floor. So you want your hips to be somewhere near the front of the dome, and you can feel your lower back cradled on the dome. And then we're going to reach our toes up towards the ceiling. So get that nice length in the leg, relax the shoulders, hold on to the sides of the Bosu, or you can hold on to the legs as we do our scissors. So get that deep stretch here. Try and keep the spine in neutral. So try not to just sink into the Bosu. You want to keep that length in the spine. And remember, if you can't fully straighten your legs, just maintain equal flexion at the knee in both knees. Keep the navel pulled in. Last one, and into center. Hug the sides of the barrel. We're going to slowly lower those feet down. Keep the abdominals engaged. Keep that rib cage pulled in and hold. Breathe. Keep pulling the rib cage down. Pelvic floor lifted. Sternum is heavy on the mat. A little bit shaky here. Hold, 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 hold. 3, 2, 1, and bend the knees in and let your hips just come lifted a little bit as your knees fall into your chest. Good job. Let's roll off the side of that Bosu, and we're going to come so that our hip is on the top of the arc. So bring yourself over quite quickly, get that top hip up, bring your elbow down underneath the shoulders so that you're in a side angled pose. Lift the bottom waistline and then lift that top leg. So you might need to adjust your Bosu a little bit, but try to just get that nice long stable line, and then we're going to do some circles. So you're going to lift that leg a little bit, bring it forward, pull it in, pull it back. A little bit harder to challenge your side series here because obviously you're on an unstable surface. Just keep breathing, pulling that pelvic floor in, relaxing the shoulder away from the ear. And let's change direction. Forward, up, back, and down. Don't let your pelvis move with those leg circles. Don't let your waistline drop. Keep everything still. Keep pointing the toe so the whole leg is engaged, working through the top of that hip. Last circle, and then into center. Keep pushing into that elbow. Let's lift the top leg, flex the ankle, squeeze it in, point, lift, flex, squeeze, point, lift, flex, squeeze, point, 2 more, lift, flex, squeeze, point, last one, lift, flex, and squeeze. Point the feet. Now squeeze them together. We're gonna lift, lift, squeeze, and hold. So you got this little bit of a side bend. You can even reach that top hand towards your toes. Hold, hold, hold. Good job. Okay, we're gonna bring our waist back onto the arc now. So still on that side line, but our waist is cradled. And then our hips are stacked on top of each other. You can rest your head into your hand. And you're just gonna lift that leg, keeping it parallel. So don't let it laterally rotate, keep it parallel. Tap your knees together, lift it up. Tap. You might need to open the flexion at the hip a little bit with these. It's just lifting and closing at the hip. You'll feel this right in, just behind the iliac crest. Really good if you have any weakness or instability in the hips, any sciatic issues. Lift, last one, lift, and close it in. We're gonna flip ourselves over so that our hands are facing on the center of the dome. Curl your toes under, hover your knees, and then send that left foot, if you were on your right side, you were working your left leg, so send your left leg up towards the sky and let's squeeze it up. Release, squeeze it up, release. Keep your pelvis really still, working through those glutes, little glute kicks here, squeeze, pull it in, keep your pelvis long, your spine long, your shoulders really nice and wide. Push. Really powering through that right leg as well to stay in that crouch. Shoulders staying wide, fingertips staying wide. Last 3, 2, 1, and then pull it in. Drop the knee onto the Bosu. Drop your back leg and begin to stretch the leg back, coming into your glute stretch. You can come into a forward fold. If that doesn't feel good for your knee, you can hug the foot around the Bosu so that your thigh is on the arc, your foot is on the floor, and then bring your belly over the thigh. So whatever option feels good for you to get the deepest stretch in those lateral rotators and sinking into that glute stretch. And then bring yourself up, and we're gonna do the other side. Of course we are. So you're gonna be sidelined so that your hip is on top of the Bosu on the left side. Your elbow is under the shoulder. Create this nice long line. Point the toes, pull the navel in, everything long and lifted. Reach that top hip away, then lift it up to waist height. So really try and find your balance here. You've got to use your glutes and your abdominals equally. And we're going to do our leg circles. So lift it up, bring it forward, pull it down, squeeze it back. Lift, forward, down, and back. Side of the bum working to lift your hip flexors and your core, pulling it back with your glutes, and up. Last one this direction. Actually, sorry, last 2. Couldn't count. Forward, down, and back. Let's change direction. Down, forward, up. Keep pulling that pelvic floor in. Really hard to find that stability on the arc here. You can even lift that bottom leg if you want to. Mine isn't working. My stability on my left is definitely not as good as my stability on the right. Last 2. Last 1. And then still it in the middle. Now we're going to lift, flex, lower. Keep those shoulders away from the ear. Lift, flex, lower. Keep lifting that bottom waistline. Keep the length in the spine. Now from there, lift the bottom, reach your hand, flex, little gentle side bend, hold, 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 work the oblique, point those toes, and bring it down. We're gonna bring the arch, the waist, over the dome now. Hip is on the floor, Head is cradled in the hand. Open those knees out to a longer hip joint. And you're going to lift that top leg and pull it, squeeze it in. Lift it, keep your rib cage down, your pelvic floor lifted, and you're just working through the top of that bum. So think about leading with the foot rather than the knee, and then bringing it back in with the knee. So leading with the foot, bringing it back in with the knee. Lift and close. Using the glute med, the IT band, last one. And close it in and turn yourself over onto your hands and knees again. Get those hands stable on the dome of the Bosu. Curl your toes under. Hover those knees off the floor. Once you feel square, your spine is neutral, your shoulders are relaxed, you're going to put that right leg into extension and do your glute kickbacks. Kick it up, pull it in. Don't let your pelvis change shape. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep those shoulders really nice and wide. Your navel pulled in towards your spine. Your pelvic floor connected. Your hips and your shoulders are square towards the Bosu. Both facing the same direction. Just working that right glute. Obviously your right thigh is on fire in this crouch position. Stretching out the calf muscle. Working the core by being in a plank on an unstable surface. We've got 3 more. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Drop the knees. Pull that right knee all the way into the center of the Bosu. Slide the left leg back into your pigeon. So again, adjust your pigeon to work for you. If you need the back of the thigh to be cradled on the Bosu, or if you want to be higher up on it, that's up to you. And then bring your belly towards the front of your thigh and enjoy that deep stretch. And when you're ready, roll yourself away from the Bosu. And we're just going to sit right to the left hip. So we're going to sit in our mermaid position. Remember, if you don't like that lateral rotation, you can just send the legs straight out in front and just have your hip close to the side of the Bosu. Let's sweep that right hand up and then slide it over. You can even stretch all the way over the Bosu if you want. And then round facing towards the floor. Pull the right shoulder towards the floor so you get that deep stretch in the back. Unravel back to your side angle and then using side waistline, pull yourself up. Drop the hand, lift up on the other side. And come back this time, place the elbow on the top of the Bosu, lift and stretch. And lengthen, other hand. Let's swap that over the other side. You don't have to do it on the Bosu. If you don't want to, you can just do a normal mermaid. Get that lateral rotation again, extend that out external leg if it doesn't feel good. And then sweep the left hand up and come into that side bend, letting your body take the shape of the Bosu. And then on your exhale, rotate to bring your right armpit towards the left armpit even towards the floor. Open back out that side. Stretch. And push yourself back up. Other side. And this time, just the elbow gently on there. Flex it up. And lengthen. And the other side. And you are done. I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit more sort of traditional working through all those little intrinsic stabilizers and a lot of the core. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll see you again.